2 goals up at half-time, Old Trafford buzzing, the Champions League within touching distance. And then Brentford scored with minutes remaining to make it 2-1, and suddenly the nerves returned. That is the reality of where Manchester United are right now. A club rebuilding, a club fighting, and a club that on Monday night found a way to get the job done. But tonight we are not dwelling on Brentford. We are using it as the launch pad for what is coming, because what is coming is enormous. Manchester United versus Liverpool, Sunday, at Old Trafford, or potentially at Anfield depending on the fixture. And this is not just a game. This is the match where Manchester United could mathematically secure Champions League football. 11 points clear of 6th place with 12 points remaining. Think about what that means. The most storied rivalry in English football, playing out at the exact moment when the stakes could not be higher for this club's immediate future. But before we get into all of that, there is one story from Monday night that demands its own moment. Because it is not just a football story, it is a legacy story. Benjamin Sesko. 10 Premier League goals in his debut season at Manchester United. Approximately 1,600 minutes played. He has not even played the full equivalent of 18 complete matches, and already he has hit double figures. Now here is the stat that is going to follow Sesko for the rest of his career at this club. Bruno Fernandes now has as many Premier League goal contributions as Cristiano Ronaldo. Let that land. Bruno Fernandes, 70 goals, 70 assists. Cristiano Ronaldo, 103 goals, 37 assists. Both players on 140 Premier League goal contributions in total. The routes are completely different. Ronaldo achieved his through scoring at an extraordinary rate. Ronaldo was one of the greatest pure goal scorers in the history of football. His Premier League record was built on finishing, on movement, on the kind of instinct in front of goal that almost no one in the history of the game has matched. And yet Bruno Fernandes, a midfielder, has reached that same number. Not through one method, through a combination of goals and assists in almost equal measure. Week after week, match after match, contribution after contribution, 140, equal to Cristiano Ronaldo. For context, the current Premier League assist record is 21, held jointly by Thierry Henry and Kevin De Bruyne. Bruno Fernandes is on 19 assists this season alone. With 4 games remaining, he needs 2 more to break that record outright. Based on his form, 7 consecutive Premier League appearances with a direct goal contribution, the first Manchester United player to achieve that since Robin van Persie in his peak period under Sir Alex Ferguson. The idea of him getting 2 assists in 4 matches is not optimistic. It is simply the expectation. Under Michael Carrick this season, 13 games, 14 goals and assists, more than 1 per game. That is what the right manager, giving the right player the right freedom, looks like in practice. 140 Premier League goal contributions, equal to Cristiano Ronaldo. Bruno Fernandes is not just one of the best players in the Premier League right now. He is one of the greatest players to have ever pulled on a Manchester United shirt. And that sentence is no longer an exaggeration. It is the data. Now for Sesko. Michael Owen's assessment after the Brentford match was characteristically understated. He said anyone could score goals with Bruno Fernandes behind them. But Owen himself acknowledged Sesko's mental resilience, and that is the real story here. Sesko did not start the season in form. There were genuine questions about whether the move from Leipzig was too soon, whether the Premier League would be too much too fast. He answered every one of those questions. 10 Premier League goals, 11 in all competitions, a calm, clinical finish against Brentford when the moment came. The transfer package could rise to around €85 million, including bonuses, appearance bonuses, goal bonuses, and a Champions League qualification bonus. That last bonus now looks almost certain to be triggered. Sesko scored against Brentford on Monday. He may have literally increased the value of his own transfer fee with that goal. 8 of his 10 Premier League goals have come in 2026 alone. The acceleration in his form as he has settled into the league and built chemistry with Fernandes is not a coincidence. It is a player arriving. And the frightening thing for every Premier League defender is that this is his first season. Now let us talk about Sunday, Manchester United versus Liverpool. And specifically, let us talk about Michael Carrick. because what he does tactically against Liverpool is the most important football question facing this club right now. Gary Neville said it plainly after the Brentford win. Carrick's job is to get Manchester United into the Champions League, and he has effectively done that. Fabrizio Romano confirmed it. Carrick has now won more Premier League games than his predecessor managed across his entire tenure. That is a remarkable statement about what has changed at this club since he took over. But winning ugly against Brentford and winning against Liverpool are different propositions entirely. Arne Slot's Liverpool are a different level of opponent. They are organised, they are aggressive in their press, they are dangerous in transition, and they will come into this game with something to prove of their own. This is not a match where Carrick can simply set up defensively and hope to steal something. That approach will not work against this Liverpool side. So what does Carrick actually do? The first thing to understand about how Carrick has set this team up is that he is not a one-system manager. The Brentford match showed that clearly. When United went 2 goals up at half-time, Carrick brought on Mazawi and shifted to a back five, a shape associated with his predecessor, a shape he would have studied closely from the outside during that period. He deployed it without hesitation, adapted mid-game to protect the lead, and while Brentford did score late, United held on. That tactical flexibility, the willingness to change shape based on the scoreline and the opponent rather than staying rigid, is the most important thing Carrick brings to this role. Against Liverpool on Sunday, that flexibility will be tested in a completely different way. Liverpool under Slot press with intensity from the front. They want to win the ball high up the pitch, they want to force errors in the defensive third, and they want to transition at speed. The spaces they leave behind when they commit men forward are real, but exploiting those spaces requires the ball to move quickly, accurately, and with purpose. That is why the profile of Fernandes becomes so critical in this game. He is the player who can receive the ball in tight areas under pressure, keep it, find the right pass, and immediately shift the tempo from defensive to attacking. If United can get Fernandes on the ball in central areas against Liverpool's press, they can hurt them in behind. Kobbie Mainoo is the other piece of this tactical equation. He received the highest outfield player rating of the night against Brentford, rated 9 out of 10, described as unstoppable in both defence and attack. He is becoming one of the most complete midfielders in the Premier League, but his role against Liverpool will need to be specifically calibrated. Against a team that presses as aggressively as Liverpool, Mainoo's ability to receive the ball under pressure, turn, and carry it forward is essential. He gives Carrick something that the press cannot easily deal with: a midfielder who does not panic, does not give the ball away cheaply, and can drive into the spaces that open up when a press is beaten. The key tactical question for Carrick is this: does he set up to win, or does he set up not to lose? The case for being bold is strong. United are at home, or, if at Anfield, the crowd factor shifts entirely, but the principle holds. They have Fernandes at the peak of his powers. They have Sesko, who is sharp, who is scoring, and who can cause problems for any backline with his movement and physicality. And they have Mainoo, who has the quality and the composure to function at the highest level. If Carrick trusts those players and sets the team up to take the game to Liverpool, the attacking firepower is absolutely there. But the case for pragmatism is also real. Champions League qualification is almost secured, 11 points clear of 6th place. The risk of going after Liverpool too aggressively and getting caught in transition, Liverpool's most lethal mode, is genuine. A defeat does not change the mathematical picture dramatically, but a performance that lacks control and costs United heavily would be the kind of thing that dents the momentum heading into the final stretch. Here is what I think Carrick actually does. He sets up with a mid-block initially, compact, disciplined, not inviting pressure but not surrendering the midfield either. He lets Liverpool have the ball in wide areas and deep positions, but he congests the central zones where their most dangerous build-up play happens. He uses Mainoo and Casemiro, if Casemiro starts, and given what we saw on Monday night, that conversation is worth having, to screen the back four and deny Liverpool the easy routes through the middle. Then, when the ball is won, the instruction changes. United get it to Fernandes quickly. Fernandes finds Sesko or the runners from deep, and they try to hurt Liverpool on the counter with speed and directness, which is precisely the kind of football that high-pressing sides are most vulnerable to when they are caught out of shape. Casemiro's role in this cannot be understated. 11 tackles against Brentford, the second most he has ever made in a single match across his entire career in Europe's top 5 leagues. Only one match in over a decade of elite football produced more from him. At 33 years of age, in the final weeks of his Manchester United career, he is playing the best defensive football of his time at this club. Against Liverpool's runners, the movement they create in central areas, the way their attacking midfielders break late, Casemiro's positional intelligence and his reading of the game is exactly what Carrick needs. This is not a role any young midfielder can replicate next Sunday. This requires experience at the highest level, and Casemiro has it. The emotional dimension of this game matters too. Casemiro was seen in tears after the Brentford match as the fans applauded him. He kissed the badge after scoring. He held his hand to his chest and looked up at the crowd. This is a man who knows these are his final weeks in a Manchester United shirt. For Carrick to deploy that kind of experience, that kind of emotional investment, in the biggest domestic game of the season, would be not just tactically correct, but symbolically right. The moment that Gary Neville described, Carrick has just effectively done his job, should not distract from the fact that Sunday is an opportunity to do something more than just survive. Manchester United could seal Champions League football against Liverpool. At this stage of the season, with this squad, with this manager, that would be a statement. Not just for this campaign, for everything this rebuild is trying to become. René Meulenstein put it best after the Brentford match. He said sometimes you have to drag results over the line, and doing that when the stakes are this high is what mentally strong teams do. He was not celebrating it as a masterpiece. He was recognising it as a necessity. Sunday will require something different. It will require clarity of purpose, tactical discipline, moments of individual quality from Fernandes and Sesko, and the kind of collective defensive organisation that Carrick has been quietly building game by game since he took over. The Premier League table after match week 34 tells you everything about the distance this club has travelled. Arsenal on 73 points, City on 70, Manchester United on 61, 11 points clear of 6th with 12 remaining. Champions League football is almost here, and if this team can go to face Liverpool, or host them at Old Trafford, and seal it on that day, in that fixture, against that opponent, it will not just be 3 points. It will be the moment this rebuild announced itself to the world. Stay with Manchester United.